What if you can only deep fry one thing? You're gonna go with pork or beef? I'm gonna make deep fried pork and deep fried beef to compare, which is called cutlet or katsu. You might be wondering why I chose deep frying. There are other methods like braising or grilling, but the reason is simple. I just wanted something crispy and battered, and I needed an excuse to make it. What about you? Do you prefer beef or pork? In many cultures, the word meat actually refers to beef. I found out that in Korea, the character for meat, which is yuk, historically meant beef. So what do Koreans prefer today? If we look at the data, pork is actually more popular. Can you believe that? Take my mom, for example. Dishes like samgyeopsal and spicy stir-fried pork, which is 제육볶음, or 보쌈, which is boiled pork, are so common in our daily lives. While beef is loved, we eat pork more often. And when I ask my foreign friends about it, I'm surprised to see that chicken is often their top choice. We're the fried chicken republic after all, but it's still surprising to hear them say it's chicken without hesitation. But honestly, I love all kinds of meat. When it comes to beef, in our daily lives, it's more common to see it in soups or stews. And while we grill or braise beef, we don't do it as often as pork. If you walk around the streets of Korea, you will see so many K-barbecue restaurants, and even when we eat dishes like stews, soups or broth, there are many that are based on pork bones or beef bones. Most dishes have meat in them. Unlike in your cultures, it's not very common to see vegetarians here. Although I know a few people around me, friends and family, who try to reduce meat for health reasons, there aren't many who are completely vegetarian. Perhaps in the next video, we can explore whether it's possible to live as a vegan in Korea. Now, we can't talk about tonkatsu without mentioning Japan. The idea of breaded and fried meat came from Europe, starting with Italy's Cutlet alla Milanese. Did I pronounce it correctly? Which later influenced other countries, including Japan. When Western-style fried cutlets arrived in Japan in the 19th century, they were adapted to local taste and become the tonkatsu we know today. In fact, the restaurant Rengate, which is considered the birthplace of tonkatsu, explains that this dish is from France. In Japan, meat consumption was actually banned for a long time. During the Meiji Restoration, the government encouraged eating meat, but there was strong resistance. Why? Because people haven't eaten the meat for thousands of years because it was banned in their country. People believed that killing animals would pollute the land and drive away the gods. To help people adjust, they started deep frying the meat with a thicker batter, which helped mask the smell of meat and made it easier for people to get used to eating meat. This is how tonkatsu was born and has evolved ever since. As for me, I remembered my mom making tonkatsu at home when I was a kid. On weekends, she would prepare lots of pork, slice it thin, marinate it, and coat it in breadcrumbs. And then she would layer them in a plastic wrap and freeze them. So my brother and I could fry them up whenever our parents were late. Enough talking. The cooking is done. Now it's time for the moment of truth. 여보세요?
현아. 야, 너
나 포크. Both were delicious, but the pork cutlet definitely won. The batter held the better and was crispier. Probably because of pork's unique texture. Maybe the beef one wasn't cooked right by someone, which is me. But it's clear that pork really shines in this dish. So is tonkatsu meant for pork, or was it just my mistake with the beef? I think it comes down to personal preference. If you had to choose between beef and pork, which would you pick? And what cooking method would have made it a fairer competition?